Rio Hondo Prep football is one of the best kept secrets in all of Southern California. As one of the smallest enrollments year in and year out, the Kares have won 16 CIF championships and have been one of the most successful programs throughout their history. Welcome to A Charge to Keep, the official podcast of Rio Hondo Prep football. And now, bringing you the latest news and content from his alma mater, a CIF champion in 2001 from the class of 2003. Here's your host, Matt Hersema.
What is up, Rio Hondo Prep football fans? Welcome to week 3 of the 2025 season and the 4th game of the year. Upcoming this Friday night at Kare Park, the Marquez Gladiators will be coming to Irwindale with their 3-0 record to take on your 3-0 Rio Hondo Prep Kares, a game that has been going on for 3 years now. They renewed the contracts with the Rio and Marquez to keep this series going. Usually you just get a 2-year contract, but Marquez, I guess, has really enjoyed playing us, and honestly, we've enjoyed playing them. And I don't mean that from a standpoint of oh, hey, we defeated Marquez. It's I think you really get tested when you play this team. Last year, going into South Central, was not easy. It was a great venue that they had. It was a fun night, honestly, because the Kares were victorious, but it was a tough game. I mean, don't let the school fool you. It was 53-19 last year. So, Rio scored, in the 50s again for, I think, the second or third consecutive game in a row last year, but really giving up 19. This is a team that has no quit in them. They will fight you till the end. And this year they bring a 3-0 record into this game, and they've been to Kare Park before. They were there 2 years ago, right? They brought their band, they brought their cheerleaders. They really, took over the venue in a sense, which I thought was really, really cool. And the Marquez Gladiators, man, a city section team. I know the boys have had a couple of tough opponents already. We talked about last week, Maranatha, the first road trip of the season, and a convincing win there. But Marquez, again, every week, I'm gonna bring the energy. I'm gonna say, guys, it's time to put all that stuff behind us and turn the page and get ready for a new tough opponent. And you look at the schedule. You never want to look too far ahead, but there are no. We'll say layups, on the schedule this year. There are plenty of tough challenges, and the teams maybe that we beat last year have gotten better. New coaches, specifically down at like Bellflower. I know St. Anthony. That's not going to be an easy game. Texas, I think we're in for more of a challenge than we realize with that whole thing. But 1 week at a time. This week, the Marquez Gladiators come to town again, 3-0 and averaging 46 points per game. So that is something to definitely take note of. The Rio defense has played pretty well this season. So for me, that's really the intriguing matchup, is the Marquez offense against the Rio defense in this game. We saw the Rio offense really take over and find themselves at Maranatha last week, kind of a really balanced attack. Well, Marquez not only has tape of 3 games of this season now, but they got the past 2 years of experience playing Rio Hondo. So I think they're going to be ready. They're going to have a good game plan. And again, they look to be playing their best football early in the season. 3 very convincing wins, scoring in the 40s, not allowing many points themselves. So something's got to give here in week 3, that is, of the 2025 season. So I hope you guys are ready to bring the energy. I did see that the Rio parents, the moms and dads out there, they're excited about this game as well, and they will be they will be hosting a tailgate of some sort at Kare Park in Irwindale, much like we did in the semifinals last year, which was a lot of fun. So I posted the picture with the information on that. I believe gates open at 4:00, and they want to start cleaning things up about 6:15. So if you're able to get off work and head over there, bring some food, put your tailgate down, and socialize a little bit for Rio Hondo Prep football, which is, it's weird to say, it's the 3rd home game of the season, only 2 home games after this. And I believe this is the final home game until the month of October. So, just be ready for that, Rio fans. Again, I know a lot of people people are busy and they kind of think, do I want to go to this game or not? I mean, the season's going fast, right? This is going to be the 4th game. You blink, only guaranteed 10 of these things. So Um, get out if you can. Get out to Kare Park in Irwindale. The weather's cooling down. It's starting to really feel like football season. The NFL is back. All of our teams are playing, whether it's freshman, junior high, the varsity, of course. Volleyball's in full swing. Yeah, plenty of going on at Kare Park, or excuse me, at just Rio Hondo Prep in general. So come on out, get some food, bring some food. One of the best parts of tailgating is sharing. Like you bring something, they bring something, and you just start mix and matching, right? Mix and matching and see who brought what. And just that's fine dining, in my opinion. Nothing quite like tailgating with your friends. That to me is the dining experience that, you can have your steakhouses, you can have your fancy Italian places, and I do love those things as well, but nothing quite like eating out of the back of your vehicle and walking around preparing for a football game. I mean, this is America, and it is just a wonderful, wonderful experience out there. Anyway, so hopefully you guys will partake in that. Let's see. On the podcast today, hello, our guest, Tim Esquerra from the class of 2009, CIF champion in 2008, the second championship in the 11-man era in Rio history. Great group of guys there that he played with, Antonio Alanis, Eddie Garcia, some guys from that class specifically. Julian Hernandez, I believe, was on that class and on that team as well. So those may have even been the four captains I just randomly listed off the top of my head. It's amazing the things in your back of your head, or just like, I don't know. There's certain things, like important things in life I don't really remember, but randomness like that, just like, oh yeah, that's what it was. So with the Rio Hondo football history and trying to be the historian that I am, sometimes you guess right, and every now and then, you're incorrect as well. It's kind of like my officiating days. You try to be on top of things and you think you have it right and you're like, oh, never mind, I messed that up big time. So speaking of officiating, we'll have another explanation point at the end of the show. Personally, I thought the officials did a pretty good job on Thursday night. There wasn't a whole lot to discuss. It was a blowout game, but I thought we didn't have a whole lot to gripe about. And so we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. And then I will dive into the Marquez Gladiators, a little bit about their scores, the points per game, as I mentioned, and maybe some players to look out for in kind of the second half of the show. But Tim Esquerra, as I mentioned, a great running back for Rio Hondo, just a great dude. When you think of what's a Kare, I mean, Tim Esquerra was kind of the prototype, dude for Rio Hondo. Great athlete, a natural leader, and someone that understood he was representing something more at all times. And he's gone on to a great career as a chiropractor, working primarily with like sports medicine and sports chiropractic work. So he works with some NFL guys. He was telling me in the interview in the off season. Primarily, he works down in Pasadena at Esquerra Chiropractic. So I think you guys will enjoy this, hearing about what Tim's doing. Again, taking charge and leading the way on the chiropractic side of things. But as a football player and as an athlete at Rio, he was a lot of fun to watch. I got the privilege of coaching Tim a little bit when I was coaching the junior high program at Rio. And so just a joy to talk to and to catch up with, a couple weeks ago when we recorded our conversation. So I think you'll walk away just fired up and, just another great example of the Rio Hondo alumni, the graduates that Rio produces that go on to do great things. And we heard from Kurt Coulter last week, which I hope you guys really enjoyed as much as I did getting Kurt's interview out there. It was really I was really moved by it, and for many reasons, a Rio Hondo Prep football standpoint, the history of it, and that it does mean more to us and the alumni and everything, but also just some of the other topics that we discussed there. So big things going on at Rio. I'll also cover some of that, maybe some volleyball schedules, some scores. The junior high is playing this Saturday. I want to make sure on the pregame show, if I can, that I can put out the schedule for the upcoming games. I record this typically like Tuesday night, and this is out on Wednesday night. So if there's games earlier in the week, ladies volleyball wise, I might miss those. But I did hear today that the Cares did sweep in the volleyball 3-0 against EF Academy, one of their two games scheduled this week. I believe Mayfield on Thursday, which again we'll get into in the second half of the show. But I want to get to my conversation with Tim Esquerra first, and then we will talk about some other events going on at Rio Hondo Prep in the different levels of football and volleyball. and then break down Marquez a little bit to give you some more info, some scouting report on them, get us ready for the big game, and then one last thing, the explanation point. What can I say? We're gonna wrap things up with a bang, with a whistle. How do we want to say that? I don't know. It's been a long day, as I'm sure you guys can always tell when I record these things. But let's now get to our guest, a conversation I had with Tim Esquerra. Just a good dude, man. I don't know how else to say it. I loved hearing his passion for what he does, and he's a guy that I knew coaching him back in the day. No matter what Tim does, he's going to do it really, really well and be successful. So Tim was a lot of fun to watch on the football field. Some of those pictures I posted today were they took me down memory lane, and yeah, I think we can all remember Esquerra, running the rock at Rio, and the other great players that he played with. So let's get to him now and get you honor a little bit of the Rio past and get us ready for the game on Friday night. And I'll be back with more content here on the Week 3 pregame show. But first, here he is from the class of 2009, a CIF champion in 2008, and the owner, operator, Mr. Everything at Esquerra Chiropractic, Dr. Tim Esquerra. All right, our guest this week is Tim Esquerra from the class of 2009. Tim was a big-time football player at Rio on that 2008 championship team that beat Riverside Christian for the school's second 11-man championship. Tim Esquerra, what's going on, man? It's Saturday as we're recording this. How's your weekend going?
Pretty good. Just finishing up here in the office and ready to watch some football and and get the weekend going.
It's a beautiful weekend for sure. Rio Hondo won last night. We got college football all day. We got the 3-day weekend. But for a working man like you, Tim,
Mhm.
as a chiropractor, your business that you probably work some weird hours, and we'll get into all that. So, your office, how long have you had it? What's been kind of the past few years been like for you professionally?
Yeah, so I started this practice in 2022, fairly new. I got a subcontracted from a sports recovery company to work in Hollywood for an NFL offseason. And so that kind of really jump started me starting my own practice. So I have a practice here in Pasadena, and then I go to Hollywood once a week right now since the season is about to start. So that's kind of been what I've been up to. It's fun.
So, what exactly you said Hollywood, you said the NFL offseason. If you could expand upon that,
Mhm.
why are you going to Hollywood? What does the NFL offseason have to do with your journey there?
Yeah, so I met one of a Nike trainer, Jamal Ligon, over at JLT Performance Gym, and pretty much we really work together when he takes on his one-on-one clients from the NFL for their off-season training. So I cover pretty much their evaluations, make sure they're okay, get the imaging if they need it, and then work up a recovery plan for them in conjunction with their training. So when they're here in LA training for the off season, I take care of the recovery aspect. It's
Awesome.
yeah, it's been it's been a crazy couple of years, and so
I mean,
I'm just
I mean,
glad to be there.
that's incredible stuff. That yeah, I was like, wait, off season NFL. So yeah, guys training in LA, that makes a lot of sense. Getting their
hmm
bodies right. I don't know. I'm sure there's some privacy things there, but I mean, it sounds like you working with some well-known athletes that we would know, some NFL guys.
Yeah, I mean my first year, like I was just kind of getting into the groove of things, and Najee Harris walks in and he's like, "I got to work on my hamstring," and so I was sweating, kind of experience, but I just made sure I just kept the standard of care, keep that going. There was a pretty funny story because I was stuck in school for so long that I didn't know who this next draft class was. This was a couple years back, and um, Jamal comes up to me, and goes, "Hey Tim, this kid behind me, he's gonna go first round next year." And so I was like, "All right, let's just work him up, like just like a regular athlete. take him through my process, things like that. Um, and got him adjusted, worked on some things, rehab, and found out, he goes first round to the Vikings. From SC, big time player when Justin Jefferson went down, and so that was kind of a mind-boggling experience there. And so I'm just try to maintain professionalism. I don't really know much of the other players, the newer rookies, but I think that was a big one when Najee came in, because I looked up to him as in throughout his career. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's I mean, the study of the human body, I'm sure, is very fascinating stuff. And then you
Hmm.
got these freakish athletes that you're dealing with, that it's the human body also, but I mean, there's a big difference between me, for example, and Najee Harris. I mean, this is just bigger, and just, I don't know, everything matters more. So was that some, you kind of touched on it. Was that somewhat intimidating in the sense it's like these bodies are literally worth millions of dollars that you're working on?
Yeah, especially as a chiropractor who is just one piece of their team. So during the seam or during the off season, they're working with, you know, dozens of hands on their bodies. And so a big part of understand like meeting them where they're at in their recovery is really understanding what they've been going through during the season, during their off season, making sure that their plan of care that they have in mind is stays congruent through their off season. Because the last thing that I want to do is try to reintroduce something that they've never experienced before, and then my name's on the line there.
Absolutely, yeah. We want
Yeah.
Mr. Tim there to be coming back now. Chiropractor. So you are
Hmm.
Doctor Esquerra, right? What are the initials for
Yeah.
chiropractor? I forget.
It's a doctor of chiropractic.
Okay, Doctor of
Yeah.
Chiropractic.
So it took about 4 years after undergrad to complete. There's a four-stage licensing exam nationally, and then one state licensing exam
Hmm.
to maintain. So it was a good amount of schooling to get here.
Yeah, well, let's continue with that. We'll get into the Rio Hondo stuff soon, but you
Yeah.
graduate high school, and like so many of us, it's like, what am I going to do? And maybe you had a direction that you kind of were thinking about, just from post graduation to where you're at now. If you could talk about the journey and maybe things you thought about doing, and then maybe how you got directed on this path that you ended up on.
Yeah, sustaining a lot of injuries from hamstring, hip flexor, concussions. Coach Johnson was a really big influence on being able to help athletes, but also be a coach at the same time, which to me was pretty crazy. So a dual dual position kind of a role was inspiring, and so I interned also in physical therapy offices, found a chiropractor to also shadow, and in undergrad is when I met my mentor, who was an athletic trainer, but also a chiropractor. And he worked mainly with Red Bull athletes, so Red Bull Rampage, cliff diving, kind of the unconventional sports from football, basketball, baseball. So I knew he had a really good range of clients that I really wanted to learn from. So after that, I went to study kinesiology at Cal State LA, um, and kind of went straight to chiro school right after. Had to. I didn't want to delay it any longer, and I wanted to get in and get out and start practicing.
And specifically chiropractic,
Mhm.
you knew. I mean, when did that you met your mentor, of course, but even before then, did you kind of know this was the direction for you, or just knew you wanted to be in the medical field in some way?
Yeah, I I guess as from like a sports chiro standpoint, I saw that there wasn't a lot of recognition within the sports medicine field for chiropractors. And I was kind of curious, like, oh, well, why is this? There's this negative stigma of chiropractors is cracking bones and sending you on your way and come 3 times a week kind of vibe. But I knew I wanted to be part of changing, the perception of a profession and dealing with a lot of musculoskeletal, spinal conditions. I think that was a big turning point that steered me from just occupational therapy or physical therapy to the chiropractic world, and really the flexibility of what a chiropractor can be, because we have such a wide scope of different philosophies and how people practice. And so I wanted to enter the sports, bring that into the sports medicine world. Mhm.
Great stuff. The
Yeah.
Rio medical team is phenomenal. We got a lot of experience and expertise there. Do you have any interaction with, Dr. Walsh, Dr. Fairley, or anything like that? Has Coach Carson sent you maybe some players or anything like that over the years?
No, not any players yet. But when I do try to get sidelined, I just offer, an extending hand. There's already protocols set before the game starts, so I don't want to, intervene too much into the flow that they have going on, because it's very,
Yeah.
it's awesome to see, things working together. But as a former athlete on that team, I can't help but like want to be out there and
Yeah.
do as much as I can without overstepping and knowing my role. That's a big part in being sideline is making sure that the head doc is still in charge of communicating, because every second really counts.
So you mentioned that you're specifically working with athletic training chiropractic, but like as far
Mhm.
as your personal your business, you said you're located in Pasadena. What do you specialize in, and is there a website or a way to contact you for maybe some prospective clients out there?
Yeah, definitely. You can just Google Esquerra Chiropractic. It's my last name. And I started as a strength coach in 2012, and so I really integrate a lot of active care with chronic pain patients. So it bridges the gap from physiotherapy to strength and conditioning. A lot of my patients go from on the table, acute severe pain, from disc bulges, ankle sprains, um, rotator cuff conditions, to getting out onto the gym floor and training and getting stronger. And I think that's the bridge that I think our profession is starting to really build on, and I think that's really beneficial for athletes all around.
So you specialize with athletes, but you
Hmm.
kind of deal with people from all walks of life.
Yeah, yeah. So I've clients. My oldest client is 95 years old. See him 3 times a week. We go through strength training. We do some therapeutic exercise, some mobility.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and as young as, 13, 14-year-old who's gotten spinal surgery, locked up all the way up to the spine, and just getting them moving again. So that's the main um, goal, is to keep people stronger and building their resiliency.
Interesting. Well, I know
Mhm.
that most of us we could all probably use at least an adjustment or two over the years with just general stress of life, or FedEx drivers, just whatever you're doing. I'm sure there's some moments like, well, I got to get right here. Let me go see Dr. Esquerra over there. So,
Yeah,
good
that's right.
good stuff, Tim. It sounds like you're really enjoying your work. It sounds like it's fulfilling, and also just doing the Lord's work, if you will.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm loving it so far.
That is great. Well, sounds like big things ahead. Let's talk a little bit about Rio Hondo football, Tim. I know you
Mhm.
were at the week zero game against Sure. It's where you and I chatted. Yeah, before we talk about your days, just what do you make of this year already? But like the recent years of this run the Rio Hondo has been on.
Oh man, it's I feel like it's just been consistently, like they're just the tenacity of the each individual player just leads up into this whole unit that could really execute And I think people aren't really prepared to see that type of football, which seems for us it seems normal, but for for the outsider, it might be like, what is this quiet confidence that they have, you know? I think that's a huge part of like what makes Rio so great is the tenacity and the quiet confidence that they bring when they step on the field. That's what I've noticed the last few years.
Man, you want to sum up the program in a few sentences. That's a great way to say it. Tenacity and quiet confidence. I love that, man. We'll have to use that somewhere. That just yeah, very, very well said. You were at the game, the Sure game. That was very
Hmm.
intense. I think you mentioned you were at the state game last year. Some of these
Hmm.
games are in I mean, not just the violence on the field, but like I don't know, just yeah, to your point, the intensity. I mean, it really does seem like real football is at a whole nother level. Not to take anything away from previous years, but I don't know. It's
Right.
been fun to see the step up, right?
Yeah, and sitting in the crowd, you can even feel that sense of um the crowd's loud, obnoxious, these things are getting thrown around, and then somebody on Rio just goes for a sack. That's like to me that gives me the chills because they just know their assignments. They don't really deviate from or get distracted from all that noise, and they just stick to their assignments and make the big plays. I think it's pretty awesome to see, and it's still going.
As an alumni and someone who played a while back,
Hmm.
there's a sense of pride that I think you can't explain to other people when you're watching these kids wear the real Hondo on their chest. I don't know. It's got to take you back a little bit to your playing days. Of like, I remember when we walked out like that, or I remember that play. It kind of do you kind of have brief flashbacks when you watch these guys?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I was just this last game. I ran into Alex Gadula, and we watched his son is giving them high fives that they're walking out, and just the intensity and the demeanor of some anger or some some type of frustration going on, brought me back. And now looking back at it, I was thinking, I just want to tell them like it's okay to have fun. Like just fly to the ball and have fun out there. But I mean, when we were back then, we were so mad and angry for some reason.
We got it with that chip on your shoulder, man, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
maybe something that like you to your point brings out brings you down a little is seeing those kids, those Care Youth League kids, or the kids of former players. I mean, that's something at Rio that's always been a thing is kind of those kids looking up to you when you're that kid, and then you're the player, and then you have kids. It's a cycle, right? And so you're playing not just for God and your family and Rio, but you're
Hmm.
playing for those little guys looking up at you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. They want to mimic. They want to, uh, be play like you, run like you, throw like you. So it's. I think the poise that the Rio athletes have now also are consistent with the athletes that we've had in the past, which is amazing to see.
Definitely. Well, let's go back to when maybe you were a young Care Youth League kid, Tim. I think
Mhm.
you played on the Superior Spartans back in the day, and then to Rio and junior high. And I had the privilege to coach you. You're one of my favorite guys to coach way back when. But what's your earliest memory of Rio Honda? Do you remember going to a team outing and what you may not know the names or faces on the field, but do you remember going to a Rio game as a young kid and just being like, wow, this I want to do this someday?
I mean, my youngest memory, I think, was still just Care Youth League, though. That one was running late to the meetings with my dues in hand and stuff in my face with fries from concession. Yeah, like I think my youngest memory, I think it's like doing those overnights where we play multiply, like
Oh yeah.
multiply in the dark, and you're just sprinting into the dark. You don't know if you're gonna trip and fall, but you're sprinting for your life out there. That was super fun. I think that really built a lot of camaraderie within a team, you know.
You're right.
Um, yeah.
And for those who don't know, most Rio alum know what multiply is, but multiply, you do it on campus a lot. If you're having a sleepover, you can do it other places too. But basically, it was like, all right, everyone disperse and go hide. And one person was it, I think, or maybe a couple of guys. And you went
Hmm.
and found people. And as soon as you found someone, all right, they were with you now. You multiplied into this hunting force. You didn't, beat on anyone or anything. It was just it was another form of like hide and seek, I guess. And so some dudes, Tim, were really good at finding some really shady hiding spots, right? Where you like you were hiding where?
Yeah, hiding where, and then it turns into this like rabbit chase, because
Yeah.
we're all athletes, so everybody's going crazy, jumping over, doing this. Like it gets fun, man. It gets fun.
Yeah, you start these sleepovers and these outings as kids, right? And then you go junior high, high school. I mean, it just seemed like second
Yeah.
nature, really. I don't know how many summer trips you went on, but I don't know, just being with your teammates, doing almost anything for a great amount of years, I think is again something unique to Rio Hondo.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think. Yeah, I went on the first trip that I went on. I think I was in sixth grade. That's when I got introduced to speedball. Speedball, yeah, that was a really good one. That's a fun one. That one I felt built a lot of running back memories for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
But also, what other trip? I did a Hawaii trip, or yeah, we did a Hawaii trip where we went to Tyrone Willingham's camp up in Seattle, and then did sevens against a school in Hawaii. Um, and at the time, you're thinking like, oh, this is awesome. Like this is just a trip, we're just gonna play ball. But to be able to travel and play, I
Mhm.
think that was huge in learning how everybody moves and runs and the speeds that we all have. It kind of helped us push each other as a team to, I know you got a second gear in there, like you got to push kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
You're you're right, man. I'm just like, hey, you can go a little, you can go a little more, do a little more. Yeah, I think that's that's a great point. Whether it's multiply or 7-on-7, in the Northwest, whatever.
Yeah. Or
And
if you
then
miss
now,
a block or something in the game,
oh,
we'll know.
no, 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 absolutely. I mean, now Rio's traveling across the country to play real live games. Tim, Rio going to Texas this year. I mean, when I heard the
Oh,
news, I couldn't
wow.
believe it. You know,
Wow.
week
That's
6 or 7.
big.
Yeah. I mean, we had some great away games over the years and some long travels, but Texas,
Mhm.
the gold standard. Well, I won't say gold standard, but they at least think so. But I don't know, man.
Yeah.
The Lone Star State that's Rio's going to Texas to play a high school football game. It just doesn't even sound right.
Wow, yeah, Texas football has always been, it's like a high, you only think about it and only hope to wish to be able to play out in Texas. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Hey, Coach Carson dreams big, man. He's always willing to go out there and do crazy things. And they're not so crazy anymore. They're a reality. I want to talk about your
Mhm.
playing days at Rio, Tim. Very successful high school career, most notably, of course, the 2008 championship over Riverside Christian.
Mhm.
You guys had a great senior class. The junior class came back the next year, went all the way to the championship and lost a tough one. So, but if you
Mhm.
could, man, just talk about playing varsity football at Rio Hondo Prep, especially those times with the ball in your hands.
Yeah, so I started, yeah, varsity football was pretty awesome. As a sophomore, learning about running back the running back position from I think it was yeah, it was Bill Baumgartner who was the guy that I was following in
Mhm.
practice to try to either learn how he's cutting, learn how he's moving, but also I think a big one was Joe
Joe Padilla.
Joe Joe Padilla. The speed, the quickness, the way that he
Ooh.
would cut, I tried to mimic a lot of that in how I would run. So I think a lot of uh, a big benefit of Rio football was the mentorship that you get from the older players. So you see how they respond in tough situations, and it makes you either, crumble or you're going to step up to the plate kind of scenario. So that was where it was like that whole standing on the shoulders of giants quote comes in because, I didn't really know the running back position until I met those guys, which was really, really fun to watch.
I think it's
Um,
such a good point that yeah, the mentorship that is naturally fit in because it's not this, oh, you're just a freshman. Hey, I'm the big senior. Yeah, they
mhm.
understand. All the guys over the years have understood that this program is special and it's bringing along the guys that just like they were brought along. They looked up to guys. So such a great point there. The Rio offense is unique for sure, Tim. It's always been a great running game, right? So as a running
Mhm.
back, as an offensive lineman, you got to love those things. Just ask you about Coach Johnson. He was calling the plays back then, right? For you guys, offensive coordinator,
Yeah, it was also Mr. Parker, Coach
Mr.
Parker.
Parker. Yeah, I remember that was kind of like
Yeah.
there was a transition time there where Coach Parker was again that 05-08 championship team, and then I think Mr. Johnson took over kind of in the teens there. But um, it, it,
Yeah.
it what was it like, man, to know a lot of times you were going to be getting the ball, but just you're a humble guy, but for lack of a better term, you were the guy, getting the bulk of the carries back then, and I'm sure there's some pressure with that, but also I don't know, a
Mhm.
privilege to carry.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think one is like the speed of our own line really helped out, but also our fullback, Tony, Antonio
Tony,
Alanis, man, was a tank. Like I'll take the sweeps and the counters easy, but when it's up the gut and in your face, like Tony was the one, who really opened up the gaps. But as a running back, I think knowing that our strengths were the running game and our assignments and knowing that our teammates knew what to do, I think it made it really, really fun. Like
hmm
there wasn't a point where I didn't feel confident in the team in my teammates to, either help open up some space or make keep their blocking assignments. So
yeah,
yeah,
man.
our running back squad was pretty deep because we had, Charles Quintero, Tony
Oh,
Alaniz, and so it was just like constant running.
yeah, no, you got a great running game for sure. Yeah, Tony was scary, bro. Cody Cow, who was a great bully, another scary dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's it like, Tim? Now, playing with the guys you played with are on the Rio coaching
Mhm.
staff now. JT Parker, Ed Drain, Dave Drain. I mean, you guys had some great times together on the field, but then to look and see them coaching and carrying on the tradition, it's got to be fun watching your former teammates doing big things at the coaching level.
Yeah, and I could totally see how they maintain that level of energy from when we were playing championship game to coaching now. You know,
Yeah.
the just the intensity, the intent, like it's awesome to watch because, it's just compounds of, just great memories, really. Yeah. It's cool to
Yeah,
see them coaching now. Because
they
I
do a
mean
heck of
we've always like coached younger kids against each other, when we were in care. So there's always that little bit of a competitive drive, I think, that maintains the intensity.
they're doing a heck of a job, man,
Yeah.
at everything they do. And it's again, Coach Carson's great, but he understands it takes an entire staff to put it all together. When you played, I want to ask you about two people. Ken Drain, who
Hmm.
was a head coach, who's retiring and or has retired and is actually recently inducted into the Southern CIF Southern Section Hall of Fame. And then, of course,
Hmm.
Coach Carson, who was a defensive coordinator, really running a lot of the things behind the scenes there. Anyway, as Coach Drain was a head coach, but now what he's doing. So, just two coaches that you played for. Let me ask you first about Ken Drain, what he meant to you, and what he meant really to the program.
Wow. That's Coach Drain really really was monumental in helping me become the person I am now. Um, my one of my earliest memories really is going to Mount Care, and he would read John Wooden's book to us every night without fail. like just to lock in, lock in the, all the woodenisms that we can find that I still run through my head every day. So, I'm not surprised that he's been inducted into the Hall of Fame, but I'm also like about time. Like it's way overdue. I think what he's done for not only like the program, but for the people that he's affected is it's just amazing. So um yeah, he was a big reason why I've developed into the practitioner I am today.
Well said. I think a lot of us can say something very similar to about Coach Ken Drain, and you know,
Mhm.
a kind-hearted, soft-spoken man at times, and then other times, you got your fair share of
Oh
bright
yeah.
red
That
screaming.
was
You know what I'm
yeah, that brings me back to basketball too,
Yeah.
man. Oh, dude. I don't, yeah, because I knew I messed up when I'd look over to the bench and he does this thing, like where he's just covering his eyes, and you're just so afraid, like, don't take me out, please. And then next to him is Pete Clark over there, just like, oh boy, like you're about to get it. Oh man, that was fun.
Uh,
That
good,
was
good
fun.
memories. Oh man, like I said,
Yeah,
that stuff made us better at everything, man. He was a drill sergeant at times, and you know what? I can't say he was wrong when he was doing those things, getting after us.
right.
We deserved it, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
oh, Coach Drain, yeah, a great career for sure. And then Coach Carson, who's our head coach. A younger guy when he's playing. You were playing for him, the defensive coordinator with all the energy. Just I
hmm
guess him as a coach to you back then, and just to see him develop and what the head coach that he is now. I mean, just your overall thoughts on head coach Mark Carson.
Yeah, Coach Mark Carson, great, great coach. I think uh for our preseason, that the year that we went to the championship, um he was really big on developing us on defense and our giving our DBs the right accountability to know that we have a really tough position. And so I think one of the things he did was he shared this article with, I still remember, it was like an article about how defensive backs have one of the hardest positions because, if you're doing your job right, nobody notices. You do your job wrong one play and the world knows. And I remember reading that and being like, if I need to make sure that my strong safeties and as a DB, like that we need to lock it in so our linebackers could have fun up there. Like if it's a funner game when we do our jobs, pretty much. Um, and he always took the time individually to make sure that we knew and built our confidence, especially as undersized as we were in on the defensive end. So, his energy is still there. It's I feel like it's getting higher and higher each week. So it's awesome to see. It was pretty funny to see on the sideline, the other coaches, hey, gotta stay off the field, get off the field, back up, come back up, back up. Yeah. I
Yeah,
love it. I love seeing that intensity, but it's very purposeful, it's at the right times.
it is purposeful. Well said. Yeah,
Mhm.
he's a bundle of energy for sure, and our fearless leader, and I just I don't know, both of those guys. I think they give our guys, Coach Drain, of course, and then they give you when they teach you something. If you're willing to listen, it's like they put out a confidence in young men to go do the impossible. Like, hey, we can go up against these giants. You just gotta stay the course, kind of thing. So I don't know when those two men speak, it's like you listen, or you better listen if you're not, right.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I never whenever they're talking, even in casual conversation, the way that they compose themselves and speak or really take to heart because they're very intentful with what they want you to learn. So I think,
What
yeah, the big confidence.
What about Tim, the Rio Hondo football, specifically the brotherhood, really, of like, we see so many alumni come out to games now, from all the different eras, and I hope the players
Mhm.
understand that we're supporting the now, but there was a then. There was this program, as you mentioned, has been built on the shoulders of giants, and it's going to continue. And so, just if you could, the brotherhood, you show up, you see Alex Gadula, as you mentioned, I don't know, that when you see your Rio grads there at a football game and just kind of you still feel that sense of brotherhood, right? And your walk of life and just whatever you end up doing. And that, I don't know, other schools talk about it, but I think the tradition of real football speaks for itself and that the brotherhood is real and not just some slogan.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely think because of, I mean, the culmination of those trips, traveling, coaching together, coaching against each other. Um, I think it uh, really brought a lot of us together. And when it seems that when you step away for a little bit, you come back, it's still that same type of camaraderie. We still expect the same level of accountability with each other, which is what it's not for everybody, but I think that's what makes Rio great is we keep each other accountable to, we watch the plays. All right, what's going on? Like there's a standard that we have to maintain, but that's just how how we developed our game, I think, is with that accountability. So we expect that same level of um that standard.
Yep. The standards, the accountabilities, the
Mhm.
intensity is a lot of adjectives here that I think are just, are very consistent. And, Tim, you're a successful, adult male now working as a, chiropractor, a doctor of chiropractic and you're married, beautiful family, all these
Thank
great
you.
things going on in your life. I'm just proud of you, man. It's great to see. But if you could, as we kind of wrap up here, you mentioned it a little there, but
Mhm.
like, all these great things in your life, and yet real football still like a part, still special in a way. If you can't probably explain it to maybe someone else your age who you still watch your high school or you still. But if you could, if you had to kind of pitch the idea to why Rio Hondo continues to be special to alumni like you and me, what would you say?
Mhm. Um, I think it's a big part of it is knowing that we have pretty much we're always the underdog, and um, the amount of again intensity and accountability that as a team when you're on this team that you uphold is at the elite level. I would say because I have explained this to athletes that I've worked with, and I do mention, I went to a small private school. We're a ground and pound school. If you don't know your assignments, you're going to know them, and we'll run it up your throat. And if you can't keep up, then that's why we have these amount of championships. And they're like, oh wow, that's we can't stand those teams. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. I guess there's like a sense of pride knowing that Rio football is at that elite level. I think is at an elite level. So it's awesome.
Well said, Tim Esquerra. I appreciate you coming on today for sharing some fun memories, talking about the great work you're doing in a chiropractic world. And yeah, man, just keep at it. I hope to see you in another game or two. And yeah, it should be a fun season, man. I'm excited. We're off to a pretty good start. And I don't know, it's great seeing alumni out at the games every week.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Thanks for the updates. I was like checking my phone when I was yesterday, just kept going. I was like, oh, first quarter, okay, we're up. Oh man, we it was a nail biter at the end, but I'm glad we pulled through. So that's keep the podcast going, and the updates are great. Appreciate it.
You got it, man. We'll see you soon, Tim. Thanks again coming on the
Yep.
show on the Charge to Keep podcast, my friend.
All right.
Well, there you go. Another very successful member of the Rio Hondo Prep alumni. Tim Esquerra doing great things in his business, in his rehabbing there with or preparing guys for the NFL season. I think that's pretty cool. And some of his Rio Hondo stories there were great, talking about Coach Drain, Coach Carson. Man, sometimes people thank me all the time for this, but I'm like, man, I get to go down memory lane with so many different guys and talk about the Rio journey, because I sure miss mine. It's fun to kind of relive it through these guys. And again, sometimes I just state the obvious here on the podcast, man. I just hit play, and we always knew kind of this content was there, I think, all along, and it's just great to hear from our alumni. It lets the kids know kind of that this matters to us and to the families they get to see into the future a little bit, as to maybe the types of young men or types of grown men that their young men could become there. So Tim Esquerra was a lot of fun to watch. Great talking to you. And thank you for that, Tim, getting us ready for week 3 here in the 4th game of the 2025 football season. Okay, the Marquez Gladiators coming to town, coming to Irwindale, and I know the tailgates will be out and about. I'm excited for that scene. It was a great showing last year in the semifinal. Again, I don't have anything to do with this. This is the parents, all this and that. So, we'll see what happens, what the setup is. I'm going to try my best to get there. If I get there by 5 on game day, I'm overjoyed. But it does take some movement, moving things around, right, to make sure that happens. So anyway, we'll see each of you there bright and early. Well, it'll be more like dusk and early, right? Is, by the way, the weather changing? It's already changing, right? Early September. I'm sure more heat will be here, but man, when you get that like little gust of wind, right, a little breeze, not a whole lot, not a whole chill or anything. It's just like, okay, things are changing. And I was at a game last week. I was at the Charter Oak game, Charter Oak versus Muir. Man, 2 good football teams there. A heck of a game, 34-33 final. Muir was up 12 with the ball and 5 minutes left and lost that game. I was chatting with the Muir principal and athletic director on the sideline because I happened to just be over there wearing some Rio Hondo gear, and they started talking to me, asking me some questions. And so, yeah, it was great being over there and seeing a great football game between 2 really good schools. I'm kind of like, man, I hope we don't got to play either of these 2 schools in the playoffs, because they have 2 dynamic quarterbacks, both schools. Let me tell you, Corin Berry at Charter Oak is a real deal. I think he's going to Purdue, and then Trey Gamble from Muir, dude. Whoa, he was the CIF champion at Murrieta Mesa last year. Me and Clark Bollinger got to call the game on NFHS as Murrieta Mesa took down Glendora at Citrus College in the D6 final, which was 1 division higher than Rio last year. So just goes to show you, man, we're amongst. You never know. At Charter Oak, maybe like a Division 3 or 4 team, but I've heard projections that Rio could be a D5 team. It's still early, and we'll see. I don't want to get into too much of that, but anyway, great football. What was my point Friday night? Oh, incredible game, great atmosphere. It took me back a little bit. I was like, man, last time I was on the sideline, 2021, Rio Hondo Prep took down Charter Oak. It still feels good, and but yeah, as the sun went down, it got a little damp, got a little fall Christmas to it. It was like, oh, I love this stuff so much. I'm a high school football degenerate, if you guys haven't been able to tell. But yeah, whether it's the officiating, my officiating brothers out there, or just watching good football, man, I just love it. So it's great to see. We cheer on millionaires on Sundays and everything, and I don't know, it's fun, but it's just not the same, right? It's not the same. Not cheering on. That's why I love the podcast. And again, I'm rambling here, but anyway, good football Friday night, and yeah, we'll see. It's always fun checking out other local teams, at least in my opinion. So, where was I going with all this? Marquez coming to town on Friday. Before I get to them, let's talk about some other quick scores and things of that for this upcoming from last week and for what's going on this week. The girls last week, volleyball lost, unfortunately, 3-0 to Pasadena Poly before hustling over to Maranatha and, throwing on the cheerleading uniform. So tough loss there to our rivals. I don't know if we're going to call Poly our rivals anymore, since they don't take football seriously. Oh, did I say that out loud? My apologies. No, I do take this moment to apologize to absolutely no one. Let's see. Pasadena Poly. Yes, they did sweep our girls in volleyball. So the Lady Cares did come over, did have a win today, as I mentioned, Tuesday, 3-0 against EF Academy. Not sure what the EF stands for, but whatever. The Cares won. It was great. Let's see. Thursday, 9/11, Rio Hondo against Mayfield at 4:30 at the Stivers Center. So this will come out on Wednesday. Let's get some people out to the Stivers Center and cheer on the Rio Hondo Prep volleyball team, as they are now officially in league play, and every match will count. So be sure to check them out there. Thursday, also the freshman boys football team will be taking on our lower level football team will be taking on Marquez, as they'll come over. Last year, you remember we did like the doubleheader on Friday, but we try to have I think in theory the games on separate days. So that game will be at 3:30 at Kare Park. Let's see. 3:30 Marquez. Yes. So you go, well, here's what you do. You go 3:30 over at Kare Park. You watch that game, and then you hustle over to the Stivers Center. 4:30 start, but volleyball games, they don't always start on time, so maybe they'll be pushed back a little bit, and you get just a 2-for-1. I'm just thinking out loud here for some of you parents who have to do double duty like that. God bless you, because I know that is not easy. Saturday morning, let's see, 9:30 a.m. This is after the the varsity game Friday night. Obviously, 9:30 a.m. Our junior high team will be taking on Brentwood at Kare Park. So if you want to tailgate, keep it going. I just say keep the tailgate going. Park at 4 p.m. Friday. Just stay there through the game. Maybe bring a motor home for some of you folks out there. I know I'm giving Vice Principal Ixta probably nightmares right now. He's like, no, we got to close the gates. We got to do all that. I'm just kidding, of course, but a lot of opportunities to get out and see Rio Hondo Prep play this week. So I'm trying to promote that as much as I can on the pregame shows, and then maybe on the weekend I can give you kind of the scores of the games. That's kind of the thought here going forward. So trying to mix it all up, trying to get it all in, and just keep the content flowing, if you know what I mean, for the Rio Hondo Prep athletics. It looks like the girls are 12-4 overall, 1-1 in prep league, and on the volleyball side of things. So keep that up, ladies. And lower level football, I think we are 3-0 with a win over Norwalk last week, which Maranatha, I guess they played Norwalk other than Maranatha. So that was another big win there. And junior high did not play last week because they had a cancellation, I believe. So let's now look at Marquez, the Marquez Gladiators. I love their uniforms, black and gold. Just kind of reminds me like a Northview High School a little bit. But this game last year, 53-19, as I mentioned, Noah Peninari, I think, touched the ball 8 times and scored on 3 of those touches, if you remember from the highlight video last year. But we'll see about this season. Again, the Marquez Gladiators with 3 very convincing wins over their opponents, and it looks like let's see, everybody pretty much on the west side of things over here. So the opening game of the year was a 47-6 victory over Verdugo Hills. The next game was against Bell, 42-0. And last week they defeated Hollywood on the road 49-8. So 47, 42, 49, you do the math, but I already did it for you. 3 games, 46 points per game. And another thing to take notice of here, 6 points allowed, 0 points allowed, 8 points allowed. Now, you could say, well, that competition maybe isn't that great. Hey, if you're not allowing many points, I mean, 1 touchdown or a shutout in your games, that's pretty impressive. And I know the Rio defense has been impressive, with 9 points against allowed against Sure. What was it? 21 against Quartz Hill, and kind of a rally, a kind of a wild game there. And then last week, the shutout over Maranatha. So I talked a lot about the Rio offense again, or excuse me, the Marquez offense going up against the Rio defense, but that could be another factor too. If Marquez gives up a few scores, or maybe they get a little frustrated, I don't know. But Rio last week exploded offensively, but the other 2 weeks, we're scoring in the 20s. This team has not allowed many points. So keep that in mind as we go forward here in week 3, that something's got to give, right? They're scoring a lot of points and not allowing many points. So Rio, if you don't play assignment football, I think we could get burned a few times here. And I just want to bring up some stats, some players that I looked at. This is all obviously from Max Preps. We're looking at a team here in Marquez that runs the ball primarily. And just to give you an example with as far as passing the ball. We'll talk about two of their key receivers. Number 11, their tight end Elijah Staples. This is so like Rio Hondo in a sense. He has 5 catches on the year, but 4 of those are for touchdowns. Their their wide receiver number 13, Jonathan Ramirez, 4 catches for 2 touchdowns. So these guys don't pass often, but it sounds kind of similar to the Rio Hondo offense at times where, like last week we went 5 for 5 with 2 touchdown passes from Yannick Diaz. It's a similar, I think, outlook and probably plan, but that's not to say that maybe they won't they won't try to throw it a little bit more. So just keep in mind that you got to play assignment football. You can't get burned. You load up to stop the run like a lot of teams do with us. And then Marquez will burn you, in fact. So number 2 is Angelo Gutierrez Molina, their junior quarterback. He's 10 of 18 with 5 touchdown passes on the season. So you look at those numbers, 10 completions, 5 of them touchdowns. That tells me it's a team that's very good at running the ball. And when they decide to throw it, it is really to catch you totally off guard. And it goes for something either big or it's a clutch situation. So just kind of some interesting numbers there in the passing game. Again, I've really liked what I've seen from Yannick Diaz. He makes good decisions. Even last week when the pocket kind of broke down, he was able to scramble and get away. And so Yannick needs to continue to take care of the ball like he's been doing, making good decisions, good throws. I really like when sometimes Yannick, he's under pressure and he has to throw kind of on the run. Sometimes he's very good at that, but man, if he gets play action, if he's got a clean pocket for the most part, and he really steps into it, he's able to sell the fake. The running backs do a good job there, and he's able to step into a throw. We've seen the past few weeks, man, it's a pretty ball. It's on the money. Elias Har's been his big target, but Tyler Dang's a threat as well. We've seen Christian Lee catch the ball out of the backfield. Really like what I'm seeing from senior quarterback Yannick Diaz, who's leading the way for Rio and will be not nominated. He will be sworn in as the Rio Hondo Prep student body president this Sunday at the inaugural, which we talked about a little bit on the post-game show last week. So keep it up, Yannick. Keep leading the way on and off the field. Additionally, for the Marquez Gladiators, basically 3 running backs at about 200 yards each rushing. So again, similar to us, a lot of different guys, a lot of different weapons. They spread the ball around. Number 8, Gilberto Cisneros, 204 yards, 3 touchdown runs. Number 10, Toby McClendon, sophomore running back, 200 yards, 1 touchdown. And number 21, Marcus Juan, senior running back, 192 yards, but let's round up and call it 200, 3 touchdowns. So 3 guys roughly rushing have 200 yards in 3 games. Pretty impressive there for the Marquez Gladiators. And I can promise you this, they're going to be physical up front. They're going to want to push Rio Hondo around. So Rio Hondo better be able to play assignment football, do your job. We've seen a little bit of zone read stuff the past few weeks. And, assignments have broken down a little bit, especially stuff on the edge, but we cleaned it up. But again, if you are not sound in your assignments and do your job, Marquez will make you pay. So got to tackle well as always, and need to be ready for what's coming and react accordingly. On defense, just a couple things here. Number 47, Horatio Barcos. He has 6.3 tackles a game. He also has 3 sacks. And this one jumped off the page. Number 7, Mario Flores, senior defensive back. 51 tackles on the season. 3 games, 51 tackles. So number 7, Mario Flores, listed as a defensive back, making a lot of tackles. This guy seems to me like maybe a strong safety type who kind of flies all over the field. So again, we got to block the right people and take into account the guys that are putting up pressure, like number 47, Barcos here. I mentioned 3 sacks. And a guy I mentioned earlier on offense, number 11, Elijah Staples, tight end, but also defensive lineman with 3 sacks. So they got some guys that play both ways like us, and guys are going to put up good numbers on the football field. So again, Rio faithful, let's get there early. I think we're in for a slugfest, really. And, the Canelo Alvarez, the Terrence Crawford fight, Bud Crawford is this Saturday night. I am so excited for that one. Cannot wait for that. And so I think we're going to see a little bit, I don't know, we'll say the prelims on Friday night at Irwindale at Kare Park. I think we're going to see some good jabs, some good some good boxing in the ring, if you will, good heavyweight fight, and it should be a good one. So let's get it going, man. And let's get the enthusiasm. Rio faithful, I'm proud of you. You guys have been very energetic at the games, especially in key moments, key situations. So keep that energy. I know it's kind of weird. We're spread out everywhere at Kare Park, but man, let's do our part and stay loud, stay proud out there for your Rio Hondo Prep Cares as they look to go 4-0. Someone's must go. 2-3-0 football teams. I don't know what I would rather be doing on a Friday night than watching two undefeated teams go at it in the 2025 football season. It will be the day, let's see, September 12th. This game is. We played this, I believe, around the same time last year, right around 9/11, if you will. So we'll try to not lose sight of that, and just the national anthem always seems a little more special on this around this game every year. So we'll definitely want to pay tribute to that in some form, but can't wait for it, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed this episode of the Charge Keep podcast, a pregame show for week number 3. And I have another interview already recorded for next week. And I'm in this great rhythm and routine, trying to stay on top of it all. But it's just, I don't know. It's fun. It really is fun to dig into this thing and make sure that the Rio Hondo faithful are getting the content and getting ready, getting fired up, whether it's pictures on Tuesday, a pregame show Wednesday, like it really is a steady flow all week. And so, again, we will blink and it'll be November, December, all this will be over. So, just soak it up, man. Soak up every bit of this. I think the broadcast was a lot better last week. Clark Bollinger was on the call. I don't think he'll be on it this week, but props to Robert Bray and Dave Guerrero and everyone for really making that happen. Chris Kirby doing all the stuff behind the scenes. And so if you can't get out to it, be sure to tune in on the NFHS network. I think we're going to have a good football game on Friday night. I really, really do. And I'm thankful that Rio has played some very tough competition the first 2 games of the year. And by tough, I mean, Maranatha, very skilled in their own way. But I think what we saw physically from Sure as well as Quartz Hill really got us in the right frame of mind to be like, like they say in fighting, man, you got to play until you get punched in the face. And then it's like, okay, now how do you react? So big weekend ahead with sports, man. We got Rio Hondo against Marquez in week 3. We got the Canelo Crawford fight on Saturday. And then, more NFL action on Sunday. Can't wait for it all. Is it game day yet? It needed to get here, but that's why we do the podcast, to get you guys, give you a taste of the game. And obviously we're talking to Tim Esquerra a little bit of last year's, history and all that. Okay. Finally, for our explanation point on the podcast, as I talk about a rule or an officiating, concept or something of that nature, I want to talk about, the restricted zone, the restricted area, basically on the football field. I've been seeing a lot of sideline warnings, not just in our games, but in other games that I've watched. And I know it's hard to, the sideline gets crowded. It was very tight at Maranatha with that fence right behind us. Okay. But theoretically, just to lay it all out for you guys, the restricted area, it's 6 feet. So from the sideline, two full yards. Some schools have the thick white area. Looks like a sidewalk, right? That is restricted. That there's, if it's not going to be a solid white line, there should be at least a line that is 2 yards away from the sideline. That is a restricted area. We can't be in there. Now I know coaches will creep in there, and then you got to get pulled back. That, like Tim was talking about with Coach Carson, right? What happens in our minds is we think if we take 2 steps forward that the player will hear us better, right? I don't think there's a big difference in yelling at someone, 25 yards away versus 27 yards away, but I don't know. I digress. It was always difficult running sidelines. It's you against, 50, 60, 70 people. You got to be firm but fair. It's a safety issue. It's also just, respecting the game. So theoretically, just so people know, there's two yards, basically. The coaches are supposed to be away from the sideline. 2 additional yards after that is where the players are supposed to be. So if you look at like a USC game, for example, you'll see a solid white area that's restricted. Then I think they have something on the side. It's like a yellow, and then another area for coaches. And then behind that, it's like a red area. You'll see it marked like 3 distinct lines, or should be players. I was always like players, second line, coaches, first line. And I know it gets crowded and this and that, but it's just kind of the way the game needs to be officiated. Thankfully, the Rio sideline hasn't had too much of that going on this year. It's been a lot of the opponents and things. But if we get a sideline warning, and again, the first one is just a warning. It's an acknowledgement. You're in my space. You gotta back off. Also, keep in mind the chains. The chains on the visiting sideline, like that's still you got to be back. The chains want to be off the ball 2 yards, the outside the area, so that gets a little crowded too. And it's just part of the game where if if we get a sideline warning, that is not. Let me try to say this. That yeah, I can't see a reason where that would be the official's fault at all. Again, we got to control what we can control. Now, some guys, and I understand this being an official, is that maybe they step forward and they're a little more aggressive with you. It's like, hey, this is, again, it's 1 on 70 or one, in our case, 1 on 40, 1 on 50. You got to control your sideline. I think we do a pretty good job overall. Our ball boys sticking with the sideline official. We got to make it somewhat comfortable for someone to work in that space, right? And I know it's chaotic, and I think we do a pretty good job. Coach AJ, Coach JT pulling back, coach, or just staying out of the area. It's a constant. It's tough, man. You got to back up. You got to say, all this and that. Get your signals, and then I used to get in fights with. They want to walk out to like the numbers to give their signal or talk to their quarterback. I'm like, you can't be on the field. Will you get off the field anyway? I digress, but yes, technically, everyone's like, oh, 2 yards, 6 feet. Yeah, for players, it's technically 4 yards and 12 feet that we got to back up and give those guys even more space. And I know you got the cheerleaders and all that behind us. There's a lot going on. So just know, as much as we can stay off the field, off the sideline in general, it's a safety issue for the officials as they're turning and running up the field. Let's do our part. Let's do our part. And I think sometimes it's if you throw in a sideline warning, sometimes it just sets a tone too. It's like, guys, this isn't acceptable. I need room to work, and then it may escalate from there, if you know what I mean. It's up to I generally, if you have one, you're probably having one early, just to be like, you guys got to back up, and it's a way to control the game as well. So let's be good on the sidelines. I think I mentioned that rule before, but as it was super tight down there on the sideline on Thursday night, just wanted to mention that, like. If you're on that sideline too, man, head on a swivel, because you never know when the chains may be flying by, or a running play ends up into your space over there. As they say, it gets late early. Well, it gets tight quickly, down there on a football field. So on a football sideline. So restricted area. And I know when we have camera people who are, this ball snapped at the 30, and you got camera people or whatever down the sideline, and the officials are like, hey, back up. And you guys are probably like, what is it? It plays over here. It's preventative officiating, right? We got to give those guys not 2 yards. They get at least 4 yards. And down by the goal line, I'd give them even more than that. I'd give them eight or 10, because again, a pylon play, the players, everything can pile up there quick. So even if you're not, we'll say near the football, I always said 100 yards. 100 yards. I said, give me my space for 100 yards. That's all I'm asking. And so, as even the sideline people down there taking pictures, or whoever's down there, let's stay off the sideline. And we bark at these guys a lot, and sometimes they do deserve it. But again, we can control what we can control, right? All right, that's all I want to say about that. Our explanation point this week to end the pregame show. Can't wait for this game. I think we're in for a good one. I really, really do. And I'm not just saying that. After watching Marquez play the past 2 years, I can promise you they're hungry for a win, and they'll be bringing it Friday night, and they'll be hitting. They'll be hitting as our boys will. And that's been something that I've been impressed with through all 3 games. Is the Rio Hondo Cares are bringing their pads. They're bringing their lunch pails, if you will, to the yard to play the physical style of football that we all know and love for countless generations. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in to the pregame show. We'll see you Friday. Don't forget, nice and early for the pregame for the tailgate action. You know what? If you bring some food, pass it around, share. Let's everyone get a little bit of everything out there. Sharing is caring, I should say. Wow, look at how we came full circle there. All right, enough of my brutal jokes and awful humor. I'll see you guys Friday night at Kare Park in Irwindale. Week 3, Rio Hondo Prep hosts Marquez. 2-3-0 teams. Gonna be a fun one. But until then, guys, as your friendly reminder, Rio Hondo Prep football, humble in victory and gracious in defeat, because we always have a charge to keep.
A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fit it for the sky. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live. And, O thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give.